Aloha and welcome to Java. It's Sunday and this is for the week starting January 7th, 2024. Thank you very kindly for joining me, and thank you for those of you that are here with me all of the time. I really appreciate you. So, coming into this week after the sell-off on Friday, the stock market did close in the red. The sentiment is continuing weak. So, we'll be watching the relative US dollar strength and the 10-year yield. They were both up as we were talking about Friday morning, and that put pressure on the stocks, weighing down on all assets, basically. So we're going to be watching China data. Got a little bit more about that. Middle East, specifically the shipping with what's going on there, and also bond sales this week. So going into the calendar, we will be having, these are the biggest things that we're expecting events for the week. On Wednesday, crude oil inventories, the 10-year note auctions. We're always watching the 10-year yield. That will be a big one for that. So we're watching core CPI on Thursday, as well as initial jobless claims, and then the 30-year bond auction. So there are different terms, in case you aren't aware of this, for the loans, or we call them bonds, basically. We got mainly the 10-year. There's also a 2-year and shorter terms, but we're looking mostly at the 10-year. There's a 20-year and a 30-year. The 30-year is on Thursday. We'll really be watching the 10-year on Wednesday. And we also get PPI, which is producer price inflation, on Friday. So if you're new here and any of these are new to you, stick around. We'll help you out with that. So with this, U.S. corporate bond issuance to slow after a strong start to 2024. So if this sale does not go well on Wednesday and there are not buyers of the United States debt and it has been getting weaker, then they have to raise the yield that someone would get in order to entice them to take on that risk. That means that 10-year yield would spike and stocks would drop. So that could cause ripples through the market. So that's why we're going to be watching that so closely. On a couple of specific things, if you haven't heard yet, I suspect that Boeing Airlines, the stock ticker is BA, will lead the Dow to the downside for a bit here. So the Boeing MAX grounding goes global, and the FAA, Federal Aviation Administration, has ordered all of these MAX 9 series grounded. And that was primarily what the Alaskan Air has purchased for their new fleet. This was a new aircraft, so they are talking about it being a manufacturing error. The important part that I really want to stress here is that Boeing is also into the Warcraft industry. And this company is large enough to move the gross domestic product for the United States. So if that stock goes down far enough, it can really affect the GDP and take the Dow with it, as I say here. So I am expecting that weakness to hit the markets probably on Monday if this goes through. So speaking of landings, this came out last week. But Yellen says she declares that the US economy has achieved its soft landing and that real wage increases mean American workers are getting ahead. So that is not what I'm seeing. Maybe things will turn. However, the numbers don't support that. Regular Americans, maybe she's getting ahead, but regular Americans are not. Here's a reality check. We've got BlackRock, one of the largest fund managers. They're cutting 3% of their workforce. So that's quite a few jobs for a large hedge fund company. And then also, along with this, we know they always cook their numbers. It came out that the initial US employment reports overstated by 439,000 jobs in 2023. So that's a major revision. So on Friday, we've also got big banks starting their report of earnings season for their fiscal quarter. So this will include JP Morgan, Bank of America, BlackRock, Citi, and BNY Mellon. We've also got Delta reporting on Friday. But these big banks are starting to show a little shaking in here. And the reason why we're watching them is because of some of the China data that's coming out. So China, between Evergrande and some of their other banks that are beginning to go into bankruptcy or the first stages and have to renegotiate, can ripple globally to some of the other banks because all of these banks have large amounts of reserves and also tied in with foreign currency with China. So, got a couple of other issues between the home buyers. This is the real estate market. It's showing that US home buyers still backing out. This is the highest rate since the start of the pandemic, still over 50%. So if your home is for sale and you go into contract, only about half of them are closing. So still a weak market despite the numbers coming down. Most of the mortgages that we're seeing that are on the rise are refinanced for people to pull more money out of their homes. And so with that, just want to talk about this storm, major storm hitting the United States. The East Coast, and specifically, will hit harder in the Northeast. So we'll be watching that, but we're watching also this economic storm that is on the horizon. I'll keep you up to date with that. So I am moving some details and some other reports, things that I cannot cover here because it's too regulated, over to Substack. So this is generally not market news. It is my lava updates. Feel free to give me comments on this. I want to know what works mostly for people here. I have already put out a couple of reports. You can also let me know what you think of those. And as I kind of test out Substack and see what is able to be there, I'll probably increase what is posted there. So, and also depending on what you let me know. So Live Trade Think outside their system will also post details on how you can do that on Substack, particularly if you're new here. If you don't mind, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And until I see you again, my friends, stay free.